Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So it's Fed Day and it's Wednesday and Fed Day, and the Fed is behind us. Not much new clarity except for a lot of what I think people were thinking. The majority probably were thinking September, lift off, and then maybe another quarter or something, or maybe nothing until 2016. And it felt like, you know, Mrs. Yellen said that this year is probably going to happen, which is in line, and maybe two. So right there, nothing out of the ordinary, or nothing, no curveballs thrown. And the market pretty much did what the market's been doing. You know, no follow through, some individual movement in names, but no clear clarity on whether or not any of these ranges are going to resolve to the upside or to the downside. So let's just quickly get into the charts. The SPX right here. I go over it every day. Definitely, you know, it's not really showing what the next move is here. You know, I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. What you do see is, you know, this descending channel here, and you have your high, which was 2134. Another peak here at about 2121. This was last Thursday at 2115, and then today, like clockwork, 2106. And this is pretty much sort of what we defined coming into today. You know, what would be next? You know, could we get a move above this descending channel and power through it or not? So at this point, market's keeping a lot of people guessing. We're well off this low here, the support low of 2070-ish, which we tested twice in the last week or so. Now we're making another little higher low, I guess. So if we could stay within this little range here, maybe next time, you know, we power and try and close above this, some shorts get squeezed, and we could, you know, basically negate what's been coming here with this, you know, right shoulder, head, and left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. But in order for, I think, this to be negated, you need a decisive close above this 2115, which will get rid of this trend of lower highs here. Okay. Oracle was after the close. Looked like they missed as far as earnings and revenue. Stock hasn't done a blessed thing in, you know, for a long time. This is the start of the year. It's just been ranging. Just had a quick move up prior, so I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow if this has any kind of effect on the market. But as far as names are concerned, there was a lot of different types of action today. You know, I was sitting at my desk this morning when we saw Ron Barron, I think his name is, the awesome investor, the long-term investor, talked about Mobilize. Mobilize, a stock that I've been talking about to you guys for a while. I posted the chart on Twitter about a week and a half ago. When I did that, I said you can trade it or throw it in the draw, and that was right after this day. So basically, this was the chart. You know, it said it woke up, blah, 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 gave you a day of rest, and then this was a nice technical move. And I think a lot of us took this two-day move, and, you know, if you sell a stock after a two-day move, you know, you got to be able to buy it back. Otherwise, if you're trying to be too cute, you might miss it. And this is another nice trade there for those of you still involved. If you put it in the drawer here, you don't care that it's a little extended from the 8 and 21 day, because they can become more extended. And if you look up here, this is the prior high. A lot of people think, oh, look, you know, stock has doubled since the IPO here, but again, it's only been public for a year now. If they have a monopoly on these chips in the cars and driverless future is upon us, this can go a lot further, which brings me to Tesla, because we talked about this chart too this morning. Remember when Tesla came public way back when, it also had a quick move to just say 120, and everyone's like, oh, it's overvalued. And then it went to 180, and then it went to, you know, 260 before peaking here. So Mobilize is what, 50 something? So just don't lose sight of it. Learn how it trades, and if you're holding it, hold it. As far as today for Tesla, I came in long it, and I did what I usually do. I sell it a little early because it was slow, you know, off the bat. But if you held it and traded it through this prior pivot, you did well. Didn't really give you a secondary move. So if you're still in a long, this is something to be long. The 5-minute chart, you could see how you know, the trade evolved throughout the course of the day. It started off slow and then just really picked up when it got above that pivot here of 254, and then once it cleared that prior high, it extended, gave you a nice another $3 trade, and now it pretty much flagged and did absolutely nothing the entire day. So if you're in something, I would think Tesla is something that's strong. As far as some of the high beta names, Netflix was a little weaker because Ron said that he sold some. Plus, he also had a 3-day move in Netflix, so it made a little bit of sense. Did it break technically? No, but Did it have a nice move from the 8-day here? Gave you some follow through, and then today in line. So I would say now let's see if it hangs above this, and then potentially, could go again, but I would let it prove itself as it has come a long way. Amazon gave us a nice move in the morning, a quick little $2 move, and then went from up 2 to down 2 to close kind of in the middle and still smacked in this range. And this range is definitely frustrating for a lot of people that look for follow through both ways, but at some point maybe something else happens there. Apple was weak all day, got out of it pretty much in the beginning. If this market wants to go lower, you would think that this Apple at some point breaks this spot. It's still trapped in this downtrend just like the market. It's not leading it, it's not really lagging it, it's just doing a whole lot of nothing. So if that's doing a whole lot of nothing, try and put your attention elsewhere. I do go over it every day just because I go over it every day. Sorry about that. Doesn't mean you have to overtrade it every day. Some of the Chinese names were strong because of that news on QIHU. It was supposedly a bid from some foreign guy, or foreign company. I can't get into exactly who. Opened up, didn't do much. But then you had a little bit of movement in like YY, a little bit of movement. Some guys were playing YOKU. Nobody really wants to be short something that potentially gets taken over. So some of these names had some movement. Facebook was strong out of the block and then got a little frustrating. All in all, though, Facebook out of social media looks like something. If you happen to have to hold something or if you're in something overnight, I would think Facebook is better than other things. Still riding this ascending channel to the upside. You have this small little double top right here. So if this happened to get through this spot at some particular point, you have your outside day from earnings and you have a bit of a descending channel right there. So this is a candidate for leadership if the market wants to go and have some leadership. LinkedIn, I got stopped out of earlier, but it held in there. I guess really wait for your volume sifter to tell you that this is in play. Let it trade 150% of its average volume in the first hour, and then maybe you get a trade into the gap. Until then, be small. I should have given it to 213.50. I did not, and I'll see what happens in the next day or so. Twitter, no traction. If you want to trade on the 5-minute, fine. If you're in it from this small little reversal at the 34.31 red dog reversal point, okay, don't do much more than that. Every time it spikes on a Google takeover or this or that, at this point, I feel like you can only buy it in the hole. Don't buy it on any strength. This stock broke when you had those earnings release pre-report time. You had some time to get out of it, and now it's just a whole lot of nothing except for rumors and whippy action, and you don't need to be in that. There's just not enough of it. The banks weren't strong today, but I think that's just because everyone expected them to be, so we'll see what really happens with them tomorrow. I just think the crowded trades are the ones that are not getting rewarded in the market, at least on that day. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, was that a Red Dog reversal in Goldman? Well, from here to there, it did push through a prior high of 213.57 and came below it. So if you were long from here and you stopped yourself out, that's cool. But I don't think you really have anything to worry about with Goldman unless it broke the 8-day with authority, and then you have the 21-day right there. So it doesn't mean game over just because it wasn't up today, because I think too many people thought it would be. Same thing goes for JP Morgan. Small little push through, I wouldn't say failure, but just tried to go, and there wasn't enough momentum to take it through the highs. So it traded above 68.52 and then came back in, but it's still in a very, very strong trend. So give it a little bit of room. That's been better. Some laggard type of moves. WYNN, some people are looking at starting to perk up a little bit. If you're in WYNN, maybe there's another trade here to the upside. Same thing goes for, I guess, LVS. I'm trying to perk up a little bit. The stock has been broken for so long. If you got out of it when it broke the 200-day here, maybe you have the luxury of testing it here for a little bit more of a bounce, as perhaps all the bad news is priced in, but be careful. GPRO is up today. Decent relative strength in a down tape. So again, if you had to be long something, maybe this is something that acted a bit better today, that you can see some follow through. And then for those of you shorting AMBA, just keep it quiet. I'm sick of people talking about it, that they're shorting it. Thank goodness today I didn't do it. Tried shorting it yesterday here at 116 and got stopped out when it went back above 117.25. Then today I think guys were talking about shorting it again. Then all of a sudden, boom, held the 8-day or above it and squeezed. You know, this is in a very, very strong trend. You try and find the top, you can be put out of business. A lot of people probably tried shorting it here, and imagine if you were rolling it up, or tried to short it into here. Imagine you missed it or rolled it up. It's just not the right trade. No true signal there. Let's see how shop closed. I think some guys were looking for a cute short there, and here you go. After a big move for an IPO, I think Mike Lee did well. Here's your buy when it clears the IPO high. Now you have a bit of a topping tail, so you know this perhaps comes in a little bit. This to me, shooting star top, extended. You know, perhaps you get a move down to 36 or so, and if it opens up a little bit tomorrow, maybe it trades through this, you get some continuation. But if you try and anticipate that bar before the close, it could take you to the woodshed. It all depends on how you want to play it. So with all that said, you know, the market's a little volatile. People still don't know what to make of Greece, whether, you know, the contagion's going to happen, whether Europe could bounce. You know, you look at the HEDJ, it actually broke that level that I've been talking about, but again, it did it here without Europe open. So is this giving us an indication that the DAX could break 10,800? We might take another leg lower. If that's the case, probably is going to hurt sentiment here. You know, this trend's been broken ever since right there, and then right when it broke this ascending channel here. Now it's below every moving average, and it's looking like it's going to break the 200-day. So it's telling us that Europe is still not ready to reverse this, you know, new downtrend after breaking right around here. 8 and 21-day broken. Okay, it was above it for quite a long time. And that's truly the trend that I follow, that if you're above the 8 and 21-day, you could be long it, you could use a tier system. You know, maybe it's a swing trade. If it breaks it, you reduce, you get neutral. If it stays below it and there's a short setup or an H-cell setup, you short it. You know, and then if you're out of the way and you don't want to short it, you just want to wait, you could always test lower prices and wait for a buy signal, but at least you don't get caught in no man's land or in a down move that you have no idea where it's going to go. So I would say overnight, if you're in some stocks, makes some sense. There's definitely some names that are acting well. As far as what the futures are going to do tomorrow, I think it's a coin toss. So I went out, you know, pretty flat, and I'll figure out what to do tomorrow. And you know, usually you have a trend day after the Fed, and in my head, I'm not sure whether it's trend up or trend down. So I'll let the market maybe give me more clarity tomorrow, and hopefully that's the case. Have a great night, and I'll see you with Brittany at the morning call. Bye-bye.